The power of an emotional detox in therapy. I find that one of the most important therapeutic styles is first to deliver what I call an emotional detox. Quite often, clients will come in and are after weight loss, stress release, um, to deal with procrastination, or to stop smoking, or to create or get motivation, or whatever it is. I find more often than not that clients begin to speak emotionally about issues that have created a feeling of stuckness. And sometimes they'll place blame on these emotions and blame on events that have occurred. I have found it to be extremely successful during the very early stages of therapy to conduct what I have created as an emotional detox session. During this session, we get the mind and the body ready for hypnosis. We do relaxation, and we create the conditions that the unconscious mind favors to allow a state of emotional release and to allow a state of change to occur should it find it necessary. Now, during an emotional detox session, I still include some psycho ed within the session because the unconscious mind is always listening. It doesn't have to be just imagination or metaphors, although these are predominantly what's used and very helpful. But psychoeducation, because the conscious mind is always in attention, except when it's not, then it's important for the individual to know that emotions are messages. And whilst many people are so determined to get rid of emotions like sadness or anger, I have found that people do not have a good relationship with the emotions that exist within them. Now, if an emotion has come to you to protect you, because ultimately that's what emotions do, they are there for a protective reason. Sometimes we don't realize or don't take the correct pathway to then let go of the emotion, and it gets stuck within us. For how long do you want to be sad about something that may have occurred 3 years ago, or angry about something that has been resolved still? So have a good think about any emotions that you may house unnecessarily, once upon a time were helpful and right now no longer helpful. And it's for this reason that during hypnosis, while I touch on our timeline and acknowledge with respect that we have had events occur, facts that cannot be changed, that are part of our story, which I like to term adventures, because I guess it's a creative way to say it during the session, or an acceptable way that we can accept that whether it's a birthday or whether it was bullying, it was some kind of adventure, whether we enjoyed it or not. We cannot change what has occurred. But if we think of it in terms of how we write our stories, what stops you from rewriting or creating an edit just to change the way you tell the story? Because in time, when we learn lessons or when we grow from experiences that we've had, do we not realize that we also need to change the narrative, the way that we tell the story? There may be a time that we speak of a story with hurt and pain. And then there may be a time that we can speak of a story with a lesson learned or something that came out of it positive that we notice now but didn't realize at the time. And so allowing individuals this acceptance of the past with the flexibility of, hey, I can make some changes to the way I perceive and the way I now interpret what occurred. We then move to what's current, and I invite clients to self assess what emotions they may be housing that they had forgotten to let go of. Could it be anger or hatred or jealousy or resentment or sadness or confusion, whatever it is? And I, of course, give individuals time to add to their own descriptions of what emotions they may be housing so that they can acknowledge whether they've been housed in their chest or their stomach or in body parts or in their mind. And then invite them to the possibility of releasing them. Some people think that it takes a very long time to let go of something. I like to think it takes 1 second. It might take a long time to think about releasing something and to contemplate or to go through the process, but to actually make that decision to let go of something, that's a 1 second job. I remember having to forgive a particular situation. The forgiveness part actually took 1 second. What happened before that was my own creativity. So that's just one way of thinking about things. And during hypnosis, making this suggestion is easier than doing it face to face. So, moving along, clients or individuals have the opportunity then to decide what emotions they wish to let go of. And knowing that the unconscious mind speaks the language of imagination and enjoys creativity, this can be done in any way that the client sees suits them. And I may make suggestions such as other clients imagine rays of sunshine drawing out emotions that are no longer useful or helpful, or imagining these emotions being released by the outward breath or by dissolving into the bloodstream and then being released through toxins. So there's a number of ways this can be done. And really, it's up to the individual person what suits them. And they can do this one by one, they can do this all at once. There is no right or wrong way, there's just their way that suits them. And it might all be done in the one session, or as I record sessions, clients may take them away, have a listen, and continue to release more emotions, or emotions. They may choose to release one emotion at a time as they go through the same audio under similar, relaxing, undisturbed conditions. So once all these emotions are released, individuals have the opportunity then to do this with respect, with kindness, even with love. But the most important ingredient that I invite individuals to use is the power of forgiveness. Because whilst forgiveness does not make it right if anybody had done anything wrong, and while forgiveness need not be announced to anybody, the whole purpose of forgiving is just to set yourself free. And I believe people come here because they feel stuck or trapped, and what they desire is to feel free. And if forgiveness is a pathway, then we take that pathway. And I always like to say, forgive yourself as well. That's not suggesting that you've done anything wrong. But gee, it feels great to know that you can forgive yourself too for anything that you may or may not have done wrong intentionally or unintentionally, or forgive yourself for even holding on to things. It's just a nice process. And slowly, slowly, and I've just given you a rough idea of what happens in an emotional detox session. But the feedback that I tend to get from clients is that, gee, I never realized what I was housing, since I used that phrase, what have you been housing? And gee, it feels so good to release, let go of immediately. And then after we do this emotional detox session, which is only one session, quite often I discover people lose weight easier, people stop habits, people create new habits, people function better, there's less stress, there's better communication styles, there's just so much. Goes to show how powerful emotions are, especially when we're not using them correctly, or we haven't released them, or we haven't respected them. So there's my chat about emotional detox and how important it is. This is how I start most of my sessions. You've been listening to Amanda Dunas from the Positive Thinking Clinic at Wallay Creek.